Right, okay. Howdy, folks. How we doing? Um, Welcome back. So this is the second part, though you don't really actually need to see the first part. So I'm doing a Sew the Catwalk collection, and in the first video, I just did a whole lot of talk about high fashion and Dior. But this one, it's first collection, first video. But in this video, I'm just going to talk about Dior Cruise 2021, just sort of some silhouettes and styling, but mostly pattern matching. So if you wanted to be heavily inspired by any of these looks, I've got some patterns where you could recreate some of them. Hi, I'm Simone. This is my channel, Goblin Fruit. I have a business called Goblin Fruit. I am kind of a dressmaker, I guess. I work in the fashion industry, sample making, pattern making, that kind of thing. But these videos generally are about home sewing because it's kind of, you know, it's just what I'm into at the moment. Let's be honest. It's a hobby. I get to do something fun with sewing instead of working all the time. Okay, so this is the video of the collection. So this is when I first decided that I really liked this. Yeah, so this show was actually July 23rd, and it's a live stream. Well, it was then. It's in Italy, in Puglia. Yeah, I don't know. It's in a little town in Italy. All of this light work was set up for it. There is a band and there are live dancers. And I think like a couple of reasons why I really liked this show was the live dancers and the dancers and the live band. Let's get those things around the right way. Um, and yeah, I mean, I love dancers and watching dancing. And also, I mean, in the main silhouettes, as you're probably sort of seeing here, we've got lots of maxi length skirts, which I really like. Lots of white or off-white, lots of black. Those two colors I really like wearing. And I don't know, this kind of sort of peasant look, I guess. Um, I'm quite fond of that look as well. So here we go. So I will let you watch the show. I'll put a link down below if you want to watch the whole show. Totally recommend watching it with some volume because it's great. There's also, if you're interested in the fabrics, there's a little video from Dior. Um, this one, I think, is on the weaving of the bags that were given away for the collection, but it's really cute. It's kind of heartwarming. It's totally great ad if you wanted to go with that. But yeah, the little factory that they went to make everything. There's also um, Maria Grazia talking about the collection, and then yeah, so a lot of the textiles used were woven on hand mills by the looks of it, which is pretty amazing. This would be a very difficult kind of fabric to just, buy down at Spotlight or whatever your local massive fabric store is. Um, but yeah, so I mean, it's just really beautiful woven fabrics. I don't really have any fabric recommendations for those types of fabrics if that's what you want to get. Um, so what they are is kind of, yeah, that sort of large thread. The fibers are yarn dyed. Here we go. Can I find one? So this is the collection on Vogue.com. Let's just scroll through. Yeah, so it's this fabric. Sorry, lost my chain of thought there. Train of thought. Yeah, so this is like that woven fabric that we were just looking at. I guess what you're looking for if you're trying to get something very, very similar. I mean, it does have a beautiful drape and softness. I'd say it's mostly kind of cotton. There might be some kind of viscose in there to give it a bit more drape. It's yarn dyed, which is the individual yarns are already dyed before they weave it. You could tell if something's yarn dyed because I'm trying to make this video quick. My last videos have been enormous, and I'm just going on some massive tangent about fabric. Anyway, you can tell if it's yarn dyed because when you turn it over, you've got like the same pattern or maybe a reverse pattern on the other side. So the print isn't just printed, like it isn't printed just on the one side and bleeding through to a certain extent to the other. It's the color is in the yarn itself, so both sides will have color, if that makes sense. So one way to tell. Yeah, but yeah, I haven't actually seen something like this in a store. It does really have that very, like here where I live, there is a fairly large sort of Italian community, and you do kind of see textiles like this in op shops or thrift stores or charity stores, um, in homewares like tablecloths and stuff like that. If that might help you out if you wanted to reproduce a look like this. Okay, anyway, let's go on to looking over the whole collection. Where's my little icon here? There we go. Starting at the beginning. So opening dress, opening look. This is Selena Forrest, which I've just found out because I did a little Googling, is actually a very, very famous model. But just sort of on styling, and this continues throughout the whole show. Very, very minimal makeup. All the models are, I'd say, no makeup at all, just beautiful, healthy skin. The silhouette, yes, is lots and lots of maxis. Everybody's wearing flat shoes. There are boots, there are sandals, there are little sort of espadrille type things. Um, Mostly through the show, instead of like this jeweled headband, they're wearing little kerchiefs, little handkerchiefs on their heads. And yes, lots of sort of fine looking jewelry, gold. All the jewelry is gold, I think, from what I've seen. It's hard to tell in a photo like this because you can't zoom in. That little zoom thing there, I found out is just for Pinterest because I've got the Pinterest app on. So yeah, it doesn't work, doesn't help. Yeah, and there are lots of like this particular sort of tulle or mesh that's been embroidered, and you can get a lot of that sort of stuff in your general fabric store, embroidered meshes. Obviously not to the quality of this Dior piece, but still, you can. Alrighty. So back to where was I? Also, yeah, the silhouette. I mean, as I said, it's a maxi silhouette. Everything, well, the majority of the collection sits on the waist, so lots of waisted seams. Pants and things all go up to the waist. Oops, skip to the next one, but yep, she's the same. Pants all go right the way up to the waist, and skirts, but not a very nipped waist. We're not talking a massively hourglass silhouette. Any sort of volume or shape that you're getting, so any shape that you're getting through volume in like pleats and stuff like that. So more comfortable than a traditional Dior look where this is corseted right in. There are corsets, they're just not very tight. They're more like, I don't know, kind of armor or something to support you around the middle more than they are something to suck you in. Yeah, I mean, obviously, this model's very slim, so she naturally has a bit more of a waist, but it's not tiny, tiny like a 1950s girdled waist. I mean, I particularly liked on Selena here. I mean, I found photos of her where she's obviously is very, very slim, but she looks stronger here. She doesn't look really, really tiny. And to these beautiful, defined shoulder muscles. I mean, seriously, I want those shoulder muscles. But yeah, that's nothing to do with the clothes. Anyway, all right, moving right along, trying to be quick. Okay, so repeated things. Maxi skirts. Lots and lots and lots of maxi skirts. They've got a very similar shape generally. So this is a giant rectangle of fabric wrapped around, and all these pleats just happen on the hip. Um, you don't need a pattern for that. Super, super easy to make. I'd say that this waistband is shaped so that it's narrower at the waist and wider because it comes right the way up under her bust. But you could do like this one, which is a slightly shorter waistband, and it just looks straight up and down. Yeah, and then like the fringe on the bottom is really nice. If you got a fabric like this, which was sort of this loosely woven with this thick sort of yarn, you could, if you were feeling really up to it and learning how to do it, shred it all back on one edge and create this fringe yourself. I mean, that would be pretty impressive if you wanted to do that. But then, yeah, we've also got this sort of faux corset, and the corset kind of idea is repeated. But yeah, it's just sort of tied at the waist. I'd say she's also got a side zip, and I think I've seen a photo where you can see the side zip. So this is not how you get in and out, obviously, because that's still very, very tight underneath. It doesn't go down far enough for her to pull it up over her hips. But yeah, this one looks more like it's loose. It's obviously split down the front and then tied. So yeah, that's, I said, it's split down the front. We've probably got grommets or eyelets. I'd say these are probably hand sewn bound eyelets. And then the tie woven through it. I'm not going to do a whole lot on blazers and jackets because I'm heading into spring here, and I really couldn't give the bottom half of a rat about jackets at the moment. But yeah, very, very square jackets, or this more fitted Dior style bar jacket, but a lot less exaggerated. So a shoulder that sits really where the shoulder is, really, really nicely, or this oversized kind of soft shoulder as well. But also repeated, I mean, if you're doing a capsule collection and you really want to be inspired, this white shirt, I mean, there's 3 variations on this very high collared white shirt, but it really, really works hard in this collection. So yeah, here we have, oh no, again, sleeveless, sleeveless with a sleeve. And then there's one that doesn't have a button placket down the front, which might be this guy, but you can't tell because she's got this little knitted number on. Where is it? No. Shirts. Just have a good eyeball of the collection here. There's another shirt with a grown-on sleeve. Here she is. Yeah. So a grown-on sleeve. And then it looks like it's just got like a keyhole here. I mean, yeah, again, so these are the little head kerchiefs that are worn throughout. We've got mismatched earrings worn throughout with like this very sort of fine filigree type work. And lots of, what are they called? Cameos. Cameos on a choker, or high necklaces positioned underneath the collar. Again, a look that I really like. I would normally, personally, in my wardrobe, I've done before just a little brooch, give it a more 50s vintagey kind of look, but just at the base of the collar is really nice. Again, as we're seeing on this range here, lots and lots of long maxi skirts with this frill through the bottom, or gather. It's more of a gather, and then another tier. That's better words. The denim is this sort of deep blue shade and patchwork, and quite roomy in the collection. So nothing super, super tight, but not super wide. Most of the interest is in the fact that it's a patchwork. The rest of the shape is very straight up and down, but like everything, it's quite straight up and down. Some volume here and this really beautiful tulle embroidered number. Again, yeah, lots of embroidered mesh or tulle through the collection. Nice, dreamy sort of peasant dress in a very fine print. This is repeated quite a lot. This top slash, I don't know, how would you call it? I'm only thinking of like medieval terms, like a, never mind. But yeah, I've seen this actually in other collections. Big sort of cutouts through the side, cut up through the back, and then a piece that sort of wraps over and holds it, the center front bit down. Like it's a layering piece. I'm not sure about it, to be honest. It's not coming into my wardrobe, but it's interesting. There are quite a few of them. This dress I'm going to talk about again later, with this beautiful square neck and then the deep frill on the shoulder. This would be a really easy dress to make at home. I think there are plenty of patterns to make that, and it looks just beautiful. But yeah, styling, choker, hair pulled right back off the face, bracelets on both arms. If they're not wearing bracelets, then it's this leather work. So there's lots of this leather cuffs, again, both wrists. The leather is really, what's the word? When it's pressed in, the design is pressed into the leather, embossed, embossed leather. You see a bit of it on the boots as well. Oh yeah, the shoes that I was talking about, these not quite espadrilles, or are they flat? There's, I don't know, what do you call those? Really cute fabric, little strap over, and then this woven toe. I think they're gorgeous. But yeah, summer look, sort of big, flat, comfortable boots, more your winter look. Again, yes, there are lots of jackets through the collection, but I'm not feeling inspired by jackets at the moment, sorry. And yeah, these leather sort of corset armor support numbers, I mean, I think they're really gorgeous, but they probably won't be coming into my wardrobe either. Not that I would know. I mean, I don't work with leather. I am vegetarian. I do own leather products, but I'm trying not to. If it's secondhand, I make a exception. And yeah, I mean the handbags. Again, this tooled leather, embossed leather. Anyway, on this guy, beautiful. Um, this saddlebag shape, yeah. And then the really thick um strap. I mean, you could really make at home a really beautiful ornamented strap and just put it on any handbag. I mean, obviously it wouldn't have Christian Dior written on it because it's not, it's yours. But yeah. Also this strap that comes over and then ties in this you do see this in mm, corsets again. I know some costume history, but I've kind of forgotten everything except for 20th century, like where they came from. Like what era? Is that medieval? I don't know. Is it Renaissance? I don't know. But I like it. It's cute. Right. Okay. Moving on from the stuff I don't know. We've looked at that dress. All of this like lace work, I guess. Lots of lace, open weave. Not shiny though. Nothing is like shiny. It's all quite sort of a matte finish. If anything, it'd be like a cotton sateen finish as opposed to a satin. Um, Really, like the print on that is just beautiful. Again, very sort of simple shape, layered with a shirt. This shirt has a pinstripe. This lace work, again, beautiful square necklines. More embroidered tulle. This dress is stunning. Um, Furry stuff, furry jackets. There we go. Jacket inspiration. Shearling? Yeah, sheep, woolly sheep jackets. This dress I love. I I want, yeah, I think they're very easy to make this, and I'll talk about it in a second. I found a pattern or some pattern inspiration for that. This really scooped out neckline is gorgeous. I think she looks stunning. Um, and again, a tiered, like instead of the tiers being attached on this maxi skirt, they're separate. Again, there's a pattern for that coming up. But still, this white dress, love that. So simple, so very elegant. Um, this is a repeated motif, and this print as well. These sort of, that's a toile de joie with lions on it. I might have bought a fabric very similar to that. I will show you one day in another video. And then this zodiac print, I think it is, which very similar to one and a skirt that we saw in Maria Grazia's first collection for Dior. Yeah, some more work options. Again, where you see pants, they're wide legged, not flares, just straight down wide. Although there is a bit of this gather at the knee. I'm personally not convinced, but maybe it's for you. I'm also personally not convinced by these sorts of stripes. But look, a waistcoat. You can get your business corset. Is that a waistcoat? A business corset? I don't know. I really, really like this dress. There are patterns that you could hack to make this, but it would be a fair amount of hacking, so I didn't include it. Um, just because it'd be a fair amount of work to get from the patterns that I've seen to get to that. And I wanted to keep it a little bit simpler. Again, beautiful square necklines, little flounce sleeve, and this double layer skirt. Instead of this is a tiered gathered skirt, all of this pleating. Crochet tops, very sort of vintagey looking. I love that top. In fact, I love her whole look. Yeah, lace work, open. So lots of black, lots of off-white. All of the fabrics are very textured. This textured sort of Swiss dot, pleating, embroidery on tulle, crochet, very textured fabrics. This is beautiful. And doesn't she look like a goddess? Some kind of goddess of the harvest with her wheat sheaths embroidered on. Very, very wide belts as well as the leather corsets for styling. More very summery sandals. More tulle dresses. Draped pleating. Probably worth noting on the pleating, it's not super, super crisp. It's like they've done a permanent pleat, but on a fabric that isn't going to hold it forever. It's just really beautiful and soft. Like it's sort of falling out, pleated, and then falling away. Lovely. Down to our closing look, talking about goddesses with her farm scene. It's like a goat. Who is this lady? I looked up Selena, but I didn't look. Oh, I think I do know her. Matty Fall. All right, let's have a little diversion, shall we? Was it double T? No, it was one T. IMG models. I mean, this was Italy during lockdown. Where did they get these models in? This isn't going to really tell us much about her, is it? No, and she's going to load. Ooh, that is a beautiful photo. That is a stunning photo. Or maybe she lives in Italy. It says it's Italian Italy. Italian Vogue, Italian Italy. You know, that Italian one, as opposed to the other one. Dior show. Obviously, yeah, so she's a Dior beauty model as well. There we go. Little diversion. Let's get away. Let's get back to it. All right, so that was the closing look. Again, lots of tulle, embroidered tulle. This beautifully embellished leather work. It's not tight. You can see the movement in it on her as it's moving from one side to the other. So I guess visible lingerie, but it's more like a slip. It's very, very basic sort of shape, more like a slip, more like a singlet is what I was trying to say. Also, this sleeve that's completely grown on all the way down. That's a heap of fabric in that sleeve. In that whole bodice, there's no seam down the front either. So this is a very, very expensive cut of fabric. So it would run all the way across the length of the width of your piece of fabric, front and back together, because it doesn't look like there's any seaming over the shoulder into this shape. And then the inside arm sleeve is split, so it's not done up, so it's finished along the edge, but not sewn together. And then, yeah, longer than her fingertips. So it's almost falling like a cape. It wraps around to under the arm and then comes out and over and down to her fingertips. So much fabric in that. It's just beautiful. Really lovely drape. I didn't find a pattern that does that. I think that would be very, very difficult because that would have to be a very wide piece of fabric. It trails from longer than her fingertips, all the way up her arms, all the way over her shoulders, and all the way down again. So, I mean, I guess, yes, you could run it along the length of the fabric. I'm presuming she has a waist seam under here. You'd have to. Yeah, so running along the length of the fabric. Again, I think it folds over, so it's the same on the back. Yep. Anyway, okay, let's look at some patterns. We've discussed fabric, we've discussed styling. She's even got a crown. Stunning. And yeah, very little makeup, maybe some mascara, beautiful glowing skin. I would say she's got the cuff on the other side because everybody else has had the cuffs on both sides, bracelets on both sides. Very old world jewelry, thongs, sandals, something like that. Yay, patterns, right, which I did on Pinterest. Okay, so did a little Pinterest board. It's locked at the moment, but I'll unlock it if you want to come and see it. There's some older stuff on here, older Dior photos that I probably will delete. I just collected them because I liked them. I really love that dress. Anyway, not this collection. Let's go to this collection. And yeah, so there is some of the collection photos and some inspiration patterns through here, but just narrowing it down. Let's start with those shirts. I actually didn't find it super easy to get a shirt pattern that sits so high on the neck. Like this collar comes right up to her neck. Actually, I don't know if I found a pattern with this. Oh, this isn't the grown on sleeve, but the grown on sleeve one. Oops, I might have forgotten that. But yeah, it's very, very simple. The shoulder sort of sits inside of her natural shoulder line. So the shoulder seam, like her natural shoulder line would probably be an inch further out. I mean, she is quite broad shouldered, I think, but it sits a little bit in. The sleeve is very, very wide and square. Standard, very standard looking button placket, no yoke, no gathering on the shoulder. Very, very square underneath here. And yes, this small collar on a collar stand that's very close to the neck is what we're looking at. And the grown on sleeve version. So this is quite different. It's actually a collar on, I think this is just a keyhole slit. So it's not a full button down button placket. I think there's just like a keyhole slit and then maybe a little button right here onto this collar. Okay, so yeah, there's a grown on sleeve or a dolman sleeve or a kimono sleeve. Kimono sleeve doesn't really have any relevance to an actual kimono, as in Asian style kimono. I don't know when the term started being used for patterns, but it is kind of a particular bodice pattern. I think kimonos actually do have shoulder seams. They're square. So why would a kimono bodice pattern? Anyway, I'm trying to be quick. Let's stop trailing off on irrelevant ideas. So the patterns that I found, right, so this one does have a crazy sleeve on it, and you would just not do that. So cut it off here. So it's McCall's 7838. It's a small collar. It sits very high, and it has this button placket. It does have bust darts, bust darts. It does have bust darts, which I don't think the Dior ones do. And this shoulder sleeve is quite rolled forward, which I don't think the Dior ones do. But the sleeve on her shoulder sleeve does sit where it should, but like okay, where I think it should, which is like right on that very edge of the shoulder. But the Dior ones look like they were cut in a little bit, so you might need to move that in a little bit to use this pattern. But I think you also might want to really square off that sleeve. It's much bigger than that. This is a lot more fitted, I think. To do that, you might need to drop the arm side to make it a bit bigger in that sleeve as well. Not necessary. That's probably me overcomplicating things. Just, yeah, stop it there and cut and just maybe put a little bit of extra in it and make sure that that hemline on it's very square. Hemline, cuff line is very square. But yeah, any sort of white shirt for all of this layering business. This Vogue pattern does have darts and bust darts and fisheye darts in the front, but if you want a more shaped look, that would probably work. And yeah, it does have this small collar. I think I checked that it had a stand on it. Actually, I'm not sure that I did. But yeah, I mean, a lot of shirts, like this one's great, but it's got princess seams, which the Dior ones don't have. The thing with the Dior ones, I guess, is that they're very, very basic. This is a very basic cut shirt. I mean, yeah, you could also, like on this, like do the sleeveless version as well, just cut it off. Again, looking very similar to this guy, that shoulder line is cut in like a couple of centimeters in from the point of her actual shoulders. I chose this one. I chose this because it's something that I have in my collection. So if I wanted to do it, I could use this, but it does have princess lines in the bodice. Um, but yeah, that same small placket down the front, small collar, shirt. All right, maxi skirts. Lots of maxi skirts in the collection. I don't think that if you have any sort of experience with patterns at all, I don't think you would need a pattern to make most of these skirts. I mean, particularly this one, that really, really is just a rectangle um, with some gathers on the hip. It's probably seamed up the back. The only probably trickier part is that waistband that is shaped. Not shaped as in it's a curved waistband. I think it's probably pretty straight, but it's just wider at the top than it is at the bottom, then with the split and the tie. But if you do need a pattern, this one, but changing the position of the gathers would work. So that's McCall's 7355. Then if you want to do this tiered version and you needed a pattern, I think this is one big rectangle gathered with another big rectangle gathered attached to the bottom. But this Berta pattern will do that for you. That's Berta B6514. If you're a beginner to it and want to get that look, this is probably a medium to even heavyweight fabric, but that does gather and drape really quite beautifully. Okay, the fun one here is like this style, which happened a couple of times. So it's not attached. These are two separate skirts, one layered over the top of the other. And there's a new McCall's pattern for that, which when I saw it come up, I was like, ooh, cool. So it's this one. McCall's 8150. I mean, I'm sure there are heaps of indie patterns for a gathered skirt. There's probably actually a dozen free patterns for a gathered skirt for these guys, but this McCall's one is slightly different, the same as this skirt is slightly different. The maxi length is actually 4 tiers, or this maxi length that the girl's wearing is 3 tiers. Yeah. Whereas the Dior one in the image is only 2 tiers. But yeah, it would just be a matter of like there's a 2-tier version, but it's short. Just make them longer. Just make both tiers longer. And you've got that in some beautiful embroidered tulle. You could do your own version of the strawberry dress if you wanted. Just buy strawberry tulle with a double layer with that pattern. Actually, I think I might do a little video on patterns for the strawberry dress, ideas for the strawberry dress, if that interests you. Let me know. If that interests you, let me know. Moving right along. So this dirndl / corset look. So you have this sort of corset top with the straps that sort of tie down. There's a butterick pattern for that. All you would have to do for this pattern is eliminate the lace up down the front. But since we have seen lace up details in the collection, you might want to keep it. Yes, this does have princess seams, whereas the Dior one doesn't look like it has princess seams. I don't know how they got shaping in any of these things, but as I said, the silhouette is very straight up and down, and we're not talking busty models here. If you have anything upstairs, you might need those princess seams. Otherwise, you're going to be pressed pancake flat. Or maybe that's what you want. Actually, sometimes, yeah, if you want that restraint, maybe that's what they were going for. That's kind of cool. Anyway, also there is this Berta pattern, because a lot of these have sort of got this dirndl look. So Berta style 6268, which is really kind of a dirndl, and it's got all the pieces to do it with. But yeah, there was a couple of dresses in the show with these really, really scooped, rounded, square necklines. So you'd get that on this pattern. It also has a shirt for layering if you wanted to use this particular shirt. It just has a stand collar instead of the pointed collar. So you could possibly use this as the stand piece and then put a collar piece on over the top. And also a gathered skirt. So just extend it long to be a maxi or put another tier on the bottom. I mean, I guess they're not really gathers. It looks more like pleats. And it does have a split up the middle, I think, so maybe eliminate that split. But yes, find the right fabric. You could definitely have a very Dior inspired dress with that one. Here on this sort of square neckline with the straps. I mean, I'm only using this pattern because I really like it. It's really not a lot like it at all. But yes, it has got the square neckline with the straps. But it does have a very like a seaming detail up above the bodice instead of on the waist, and the skirt is very fitted. But you might like that variation on the theme. I certainly do. I really like that dress. And yes, there were other square neck dresses which we're just about to have a look at. Yeah, the square neck dress. So quite a few of these in the collection. This lace one, I really love that. I think it's just beautiful. And then this black one, I think would be super easy to make. In fact, if you found a fairly drapey yet, what's the word, stable knit, I think you can make a really comfortable version of this out of a drapey yet stable knit and just wear that forever, winter, summer, whatever. Okay, so it's got this very, very wide neckline. The straps, uh, is there even a strap on there, or is it like the Adrienne where the sleeve is just part of the finishing? I really can't tell. But it's gathered through the front, and then gathered into a waistband, or it could be a top and a skirt, and then the skirt is gathered in. So most important thing, I guess, what you're looking for in this fabric is something that gathers very, very nicely and quite tight gathers on the top of that skirt without adding too much volume. And then, yeah, gathered in again here and right down to the ground in length. So one tier from just above the knee down to the ground. Very high waist. Bracelet length sleeves with that full puffed sleeve shape. Personally, I mean, I've done the video where I really hacked the Adrienne Blouse. So this is the Adrienne Blouse to give a lower, squarer neckline, and I even gave it longer sleeves. So I would probably use that pattern that I've done myself, but you might not want to do so much alteration to that pattern as I did. So this McCall's pattern would definitely work. So yeah, square neckline. I probably just wouldn't put these two channels of elastic in. So it's just gathered from here and then gathered in at the waist, make it longer, which is very easy. We do already have a long puff sleeve, just eliminate this little frill on the end. And that's it. Same dress. It's even like the tier here, the size of it's even worked out for you. All you would be doing is making it longer to make it that full length maxi. Beautiful. There is also, if you want to support an indie, as we all do, this is the Sofia dress and top from Victory Patterns. I really like some of the stuff that Victory Patterns produce. I think they're really beautiful. This one isn't gathered, which I guess makes it more like my version of the Adrienne, but in this lovely lace. It's a woven. Adrienne is a knit pattern, so you'd have to make some changes there to what I've done. But this guy is all shearing, which is different from both of them. But I mean, shearing is definitely in vogue. But this will really give you that look. I think it's really perfect. Yeah, the Sofia dress and top from Victory Patterns. And yeah, that's a made up version of it. The long sleeve version does have some shearing on the calf, whereas these guys didn't do that. But you could easily just not do that. Put a little gathered bit of elastic, fold over, put a bit of elastic through. Easy. Bob's your uncle. Very easy, mates. Right, the square neck dress, the flounce dress. So this beautiful number here with this embroidered mesh and a more fitted square neck bodice, very easily copied with this McCall's pattern. I think this skirt is gathered and this skirt is not. So if you wanted it to be a lot more similar, you would just do a rectangle gathered skirt on it. Obviously, this version, she's got two ruffles in the bodice, and it doesn't come down right over the shoulder. but you just make the ruffle longer so it does come down on the shoulder, and don't do that inside ruffle. It does mean you've got a seam in there, but more seams for shaping. This is black, so I can't even tell what seaming is going on there. But yep, that would make that one. There is also another version if you want to do a high neck, but get this big ruffle that goes right over the shoulder. The Phoebe, and you want to work with an independent pattern company. This is the Phoebe Flounce top, which is an add-on to the the Phoebe Flounce dress. No, the Phoebe dress. It's an add-on to the Phoebe dress. And it's from Pattern Union. But yeah, it has that beautiful flounce through there. It's just a high neck with a little tie. And again, pick like a lace or something, or a mesh tulle, or make this front piece out of, the black fabric, and then just do the flounce in the mesh, and you would get that very Dior Cruise kind of look. Lastly, the white dress. Rightio. I've already been here for 45 minutes. What did I say? I want to do a faster video. So why can't I do a 10-minute video? Other people on YouTube do 10-minute videos. Oh man. Okay. Lastly, this white dress. I think it's just beautiful. But like I was discussing on the closing look on when we were looking at the collection as a whole, the tulle one, this does look like it's the same deal. There's no shoulder seam. There's probably no seam over the top, like no arm side, no shoulder seam, no outside sleeve seam, sewn through the inside and then sewn through the inside of the torso, but split on the inside of the sleeve. This is slightly shorter, so just bracelet length sleeves. Just a slight little gather here on this rounded neckline. It might be a keyhole underneath that, which to mimic the shirt, but I don't know if it is or not. And this just looks like it might be a top and a skirt with just an elasticized waistband skirt, or as a dress with, and this is probably one of the only things that looks like it's a drop waist. But yeah, drop waist with the elastic. I'd say this is probably made out of a woven, some kind of viscose rayon, something else, maybe a crepe. It could be a silk crepe for all I know. But I think, again, you could probably make this out of a drapey but stable jersey if you could find one in white, and it would be super, super comfortable and really nice. Patterns, this Simplicity pattern, so both the same, S9013, gives you that rounded neck with a little bit of gathering at the neck. Instead of gathering in at the wrist, just leave it open and leave that inside sleeve seam undone to an extent. It does have shoulder seams though. Or this Simplicity pattern, so obviously Simplicity on a roll. I mean, the thing with this one, it's the skirt is not a gather. It's just an A-line drapey number. It's not gathered. And it's quite high on the waist, whereas hers is quite low. And then this Simplicity pattern, which has a more defined waist. Does it actually tie? Maybe it ties. But she's got a drop sleeve. I mean, there's a drop sleeve and then add the long sleeve on. But you could pattern hack this so that this drop sleeve just extended right into the sleeve, all in one piece. Again, you would need lots of fabric. I think I was in the middle of saying I don't think a pattern company would make it like that with the all-in-one long sleeve, because it just would take up so much fabric, and when you went up sizes, it wouldn't fit on the fabric anymore. It would just have to be, just too enormous. So you couldn't make it for all sizes. So I just don't think that they would ever, I think it would be very hard to find a pattern with a long grown-on sleeve like that. But there are dolman top patterns that do. Anyway, the other one had huge amounts of volume. It's just huge amounts of fabric, which would put people off, I think. But there we go. I've come to the end. So Catwalk inspiration from Dior. If you liked that, I mean, I will unblock this Pinterest account this Pinterest board and link it below if you want to go back and look at it. I'll put all the patterns down below and links for the other Dior videos. If you enjoyed it, yeah, please like and subscribe and all that kind of YouTube stuff. But mostly just pop down below if you liked this kind of video, like a little comment of, yeah, that was great, thanks. Would be really, really awesome, because then I know that, yeah, you like these. And again, I've been on here for 50 minutes. I'm going to have to do a little bit of editing because I was drinking. But yay. Alrighty. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next weekend. Ciao.